the sun. He's up all night to get some. I'm up all night for good fun. He's up all night to get lucky. We're up all night.
Hey, what's up everyone? So the changes just keep on coming and coming in Warframe, for better or for worse. The Shrine of Eidolon update I believe is going to go live today at some point, and a lot of these changes will be added. But the big news from Digital Extremes last night was that they are bringing an end to the trials in Warframe for the time being. The Law of Retribution and of course the Jordas Golem trials will be shut down from the 28th of February this month. The trials were of course the so-called raids in Warframe, and of course I use that term raid very lightly. Digital Extremes themselves have described these trials in the past as being a bit of a buggy mess and something that they're really not happy with from a design standpoint. So they're removing them or kicking them into space, or the Jordas Golem just flew straight into the fucking sun. Now they have said that this is not the end of trials in Warframe, but more of a break away from the game in order to rethink them or rework them hopefully in a better way. Who knows? Remember when Dark Sectors was a thing in Warframe? They also got removed from the game to be reworked roughly round about the same time that the Law of Retribution actually got introduced, or somewhere around that time anyway. They've been gone for over 2 years and are now only being mentioned as possibly coming back in some form very soon. So we might see Dark Sectors again in game pretty soon. But like I said, it's been over 2 years that Dark Sectors have been gone, so can we expect trials to be gone for 2 years or over 2 years as well, if they ever actually bring them back? Now we've been told that a very low player engagement and a developer frustration is why trials are being removed. So basically the community just wasn't interested in trials in their current state, and the developers were far too frustrated with the issues that a lot of these trials brought, because there were a lot of really game breaking bugs in some of these trials. So with trials gone, it means that Eidolons are now being considered the new so-called trials, because they take communication, strategy and teamwork in order to bring down. And because of this, the Arcanes that were once rewarded for completing those trials, the Law of Retribution and the Jordas Golem, these will now be made available for killing a terrorist instead, as soon as this Shrine of Eidolon update goes live today. So killing Eidolons when this update goes live today with the new 2 terrorists will give you the chance to not only get those new Riven transmuters, but also get Arcanes, which is something that a lot of the player base might not have really looked at, simply because they hated the idea of running with the trials or couldn't get a group organised enough to actually run one. But now if you really wanted to get an Arcane Energize or an Arcane Grace and so on, or depending on what Arcanes they actually put into the drop table or the reward table, you have a chance to get these Arcanes simply by bringing down these terrorists. So right now it looks like a lot of content is being pushed out onto the plains of Eidolon, and it kind of is, and it in a way forces some players to play content that they may not enjoy or even be able to play due to lag or maybe their PC specs or whatever, kind of like the vaulted relics are right now with regards farming those bounties. And I guess this may not look as bad if we had Venus as well, and if the content was spread out between 2 large open world areas instead of just one, which means we've got all of this content locked to this one small open world area. However, Arcanes will be a lot more accessible as well, and I'd imagine because of this the price for Arcanes will plummet, which can be a good thing, because I believe right now a very small amount of players hold the whole monopoly on all of the Arcanes in the game, because they're the guys that run these trials religiously every day. And because of that, that's why you're seeing prices of 5,000, 6,000 and so on for one full set of these Arcanes. So I'd imagine, like I said, the price is going to come down drastically because a lot more players will have their hands on these Arcanes. Now hunting these Eidolons isn't going to just give you these Arcanes, it's also going to give you these new Riven transmuters, which is going to allow you to transmute 4 pistol Rivens into hopefully a brand new pistol Riven, or 4 rifle Rivens into a brand new rifle Riven. I really hope that it doesn't transmute something like 4 Kraken Rivens into a brand new Kraken Riven. That would be really fucking annoying. I honestly feel that if you're going to be sacrificing 4 Rivens that would have taken you a long time to get, and of course the RNG behind the whole lot of it as well, I feel like you should be able to pick what weapon that you're going to have this freshly made Riven for, especially if you're going to sacrifice, like I said, 4 Rivens for it. I don't feel that RNG should play a huge part in deciding what this new Riven is going to be for, because then it's a waste of 4 Rivens that you could have maybe sold, got platinum and actually bought a Riven for the weapon that you wanted instead. It's already RNG on top of RNG on top of RNG when it comes to the Riven system. Now on the 28th of February, when all of these trials get removed, anyone who has taken part in one of the trials over the last Now on the 28th of February, when these trials or raids get removed from the game, anyone who has taken part in one of these trials or raids over the last 2 years will be rewarded with a special badge that you can wear on your Warframe shoulder, I guess, as a mark of honour. Now from a personal standpoint, I very rarely ran trials. I didn't enjoy them one bit when I did run them, and I found them very boring and quite frankly buggy as well. But I know the trials had a small devout group who loved to run them over and over again, so hopefully they return bigger and better for you guys to enjoy all over again, and of course for the community to more enjoy than they do right now. So trials are going, but in other news, Chromas Vex armor buff will now have an 18 meter base range with his fix, and the Vex buff will be recastable while active, so you won't drop that Fury or Scorn buff if you recast it before that duration runs out. So this will mean that we can mod our Chromas for more range at the expense of a bit of duration, because we can now recast it to keep our buffs active for ourselves and of course our squad mates as well. This will also make Chroma a really good squad buffing Warframe and still very powerful in himself. Now having Chroma as a team player actually excites me. I love Chroma, and the one thing that I really disliked about running Chroma was that he brought nothing whatsoever to his squad. He was a solo frame who relied on no one but himself, but we all knew that his damage multipliers were broken as fuck. However, now the fact that you're going to be able to refresh his buff, like say for instance if you have 400% on your Scorn buff and you've got 2 seconds left on that duration, simply recast it and you will keep that 400%. You won't have to take damage again in order to get that buff back up to where it once was. So this is a really nice change for Chroma. It's not going to break him, he's still going to be powerful, but he's also going to be sharing his buffs with his squad mates as well. So it's a really nice thing for a whole squad setup. Now Mag is going to see another really nice change. Her Polarize augment will now jam enemy weapons for 4 seconds and disable robotic enemies for 4 seconds as well. So Mag just gained a really nice amount of crowd control, and she's going to be a lot of fun running up against corpus enemies again. Now Ember's Fireball can now be charged up to deal more damage, and when it hits something it will leave a napalm like, I guess, flame on the ground that will damage enemies that walk into it. Her Fire Blast, her number 3 ability, can now be shot through like Volt's shield, and your weapons will deal additional fire damage as a result of shooting through this Fire Blast. Now Banshee's Resonating Quake will now only deal damage once to enemies as it expands outwards, but it will deal all of that damage in one go instead of over its duration. So depending on what kind of damage numbers this Resonating Quake will throw out, now it still sounds like Banshee is going to be a really good nuking Warframe with that Resonating Quake setup, so it might not be a nerf after all. We're going to have to wait until later on today when we actually get our hands on her. So all of this is being added today, with the exception of the raids, which are going to be closed from the 28th of this month. So you've got all of those weapon fixes coming, you've got all of the Warframe retweaks and of course reworks. You've got the 2 new Terrorists or Eidolons to hunt for Arcanes and those Riven Transmuters. So next week will be a pretty busy week for me with regards getting videos out, so I will try and cover everything that I can over the next week or two. Do me a huge favour and hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, or don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Warframe, and as always, thanks very much for watching.
And I am bone, rise up, ting ting like glitter and gold. I got fire in my soul, rise up, ting ting like glitter.